doing some skiing, getting ready for the Winter Olympics before he goes over to Italy.
Well, it was funny enough. He was warmer this weekend than we were.
Yes, sure
Oddly
was.
enough.
So he'll be back with us next Monday. Molly, Conrad, myself, Pat will be with you until 2 o'clock. 1-800-239-WJOX. That is the Courtesy GMC text line. Former Auburn head coach and Florida State OC Gus Malzahn. He retired earlier this morning. 35-year coaching career. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arkansas High School won state championship after state championship. Came to Auburn. OC won a national championship in 2010. Played for a national championship as the head coach at Auburn in 2013. Finished with a 680 win-loss percentage down on the plains of Auburn. Won an SEC title. National runner-up. Beat Nick Saban 3 times. Listen, he goes out. The offense at Florida State was not the problem.
They were incredible.
They had a really, really good year. They finished 6th nationally in total offense, 22nd in scoring offense. And so when you start looking at Gus Malzahn's coaching tree, you got Rhett Lashley at SMU, Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. Locally, Josh Floyd over at Hewitt-Trussville High School, done an incredible job out there. So, yeah, so says he's going to spend more time with his wife, Christy. He's got 2 daughters, got grandkids. So I would imagine you would see him at a lake near you here in the state of Alabama very soon.
Yeah, it certainly seems that that's going to be the case. And it's interesting, though, right? Because he leaves UCF last year to go be the OC. And like we've seen with other coaches, like, Chip Kelly's an example here, recent memory of, guys that maybe just got a little tired of the state of college football and said, you know what, I don't want to deal with all this as a head coach. Let me go and focus on my craft as a coordinator. Did a great job this year, but you do just wonder if it's one of those things where it's, I still got it, right? Obviously, he showed that this year with the offense that FSU had, but you just look around at, how fluid everything is. He's got a coach that's on the hot seat. He's going to have a whole new roster, and maybe it was just it was time for him to hang it up. But certainly went out with a lot left in the tank, and I think would have had Florida State in a good position this year, and certainly would have been somebody that other schools were interested in if he had wanted to keep coaching. But a great career, and I mean, I brought it up multiple times. I think somebody that now that he's retired, people will start to look back on a little more fondly and have a little more appreciation for what Gus brought to the game of college football. And certainly, I think a lot of Auburn fans today reflecting on the good times, some bad, but mainly good times that he had there on the Plains.
So it was interesting. We took a couple calls earlier in the show, and most people was going to put Chuck Jordan as number 1 all time
Then
in
Pat
Auburn.
Dye.
Then Pat Dye would be number 2, and then you start getting into a very interesting conversation, whether it's Tommy Tuberville, whether it's Gus Malzahn.
You had Terry Bowden, someone texted
in and said it was Terry Bowden. So we'd love to hear from you at 1-800-239-WJOX or the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. And speaking of Gus Malzahn stepping down, he walks away from $4.5 million. That's a lot of money. That's what his contract, I think, called for $2 million this season, $2.5 million next year. So I'm sure there's some type of settlement with Florida State. But now in the month of September, Alabama will face 4 teams with brand new offensive coordinators: East Carolina, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Florida State. Now, Florida State, earlier this morning, it says that Tim Harris is going to be the so-called offensive coordinator for the Seminoles, but Mike Norvell is expected to call the plays. So he would be the play caller. He would have an offensive coordinator, but Norvell, I guess, would call the plays. So,
yes, it definitely seems that's the case. And I'm just trying to add all this together. And this is just going back to, starting when he, became the head coach at Auburn and through now. I mean, it looks like over that time period, he's made roughly $63 million.
Does that include his $21.7 million buyout in 2020?
It does. It does include that. But I mean, again, $4.5 million is a lot to step away from, but clearly has done a great job for himself and his family financially. And I saw where his wife went and posted a beautiful picture of him and all his grandkids this morning. And I think we all agree that this is kind of what you work for, right? Like, you work to get to a certain point, get to the pinnacle of your career, which Gus has obviously achieved. And now he gets to enjoy that with his family and loved ones for, the rest of his life. So very happy for him. And yeah, it'll be different without him. But I will also say, as an Alabama fan, I am looking forward a lot more to playing Florida State next year.
Without Gus Malzahn?
Yes, without him on the sidelines, because he clearly kind of has Alabama's number throughout his career.
a very poignant ending to his post on social media. He says, as I look ahead to the next season of my life, I'm excited to spend more time with my family and focus on what the Lord is calling me to do next. Gus Malzahn.
Can't argue with that.
Nope. So Gus Malzahn steps down after a long career in college football. Alabama loses yesterday down in Gainesville to the Florida Gators 100-77. Alabama's fifth consecutive loss to the Gators, tied now 14-7, 4-4 in the SEC. Back home on Wednesday night to take on Bucky McMillan, and the Texas A&M Aggies. They will be in Tuscaloosa on Wednesday night, carrying the best record in the SEC.
I was about to say, if you haven't been paying attention, the number one team in the SEC, but a team that we're going to learn a lot about. With Alabama, Florida, the next two teams on their schedule, are they for real or are they a bit of a paper tiger? But I think, it's not like a must-win or anything for the tournament, but in terms of, momentum and kind of where this team is at mentally right now, feels like this is a big one for Alabama this week to get back on track, because we all know what comes up on Saturday with the first edition of the IBOB this year. And it's crazy, to think if you have a bad week, if you're Alabama, you could very quickly be looking at a 1-5 record since bringing Charles Bediako back to that club. And a lot of the controversy and everything that you brought upon yourself thinking you were helping your team. The reality, and I was talking to somebody about it this morning, it's of all the backlash that's going to come to Nate Oates and that team and that coaching staff for the Charles Bediako situation, it really feels like if you didn't make a Final Four at least, was it going to be worth it? And I think now, if you kind of go on a little bit of a stretch here where you don't play great basketball, I think a lot of people are going to be going, then why do we do this? What was this all for?
Well, the other question is, where would Alabama be if Bediako was not on the team?
That's maybe a fair question as well. I guess you'd be looking at maybe going 0-6 instead of 1-5 in those games. Maybe that would be the difference. But
Alabama's definitely trending in the wrong direction, because if you look at the bracketology, just a couple of weeks ago, they were at number 4. And this morning, Jerry Palm was the first one to put out an updated at CBSSports.com, and he's got Alabama as a 6th seed.
Yeah, so obviously not in any risk of missing the tournament, but
unless the wheels completely fall off.
Well, correct, and that is possible. But yeah, again, you just go back to, the last handful of years under Nate Oates, a 6th seed is, kind of not used to that, right? You're used to being up there in the, top 4 seeds. So a lot of season left to go, about 10 games left for all these teams in conference play, but got to get some things figured out, both Alabama and Auburn this week, and Auburn will have a lot more time to do that because they don't play again until Saturday against Alabama.
Yeah, they lose to Tennessee up on Rocky Top 77-69. Team just could not shoot well from the outside. They only hit 23% of their three-point shots. They missed 24 three-pointers against Tennessee, shot below 40%. They're now 0-5 on the season when they have shot under 40% for the game. The Tigers fall to 14-8 overall, 5-4 in the SEC, off until Saturday, as Conrad mentioned, against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Very limited schedule in the SEC tomorrow night and Wednesday. 2 games tomorrow evening, 2 on Wednesday. So I saw this pop up over the weekend. Matter of fact, it was on Friday. And a lot of folks in college football started celebrating, started doing high fives and posting stuff on social media, because college sports' new enforcement arm has opened its first publicly known investigation into a big-name program, and that big-name program that the CSC is investigating is LSU. The College Sports Commission has started an inquiry into the Tigers over a potential violation of rules related to unreported player compensation, according to a January 15th email obtained Friday by The Athletic through a public records request. Now, NOLA.com, they're reporting that the inquiry by the College Sports Commission, which basically is taking over for the NCAA, it does not include anything with football.
Okay.
So this is not a football investigation, according to NOLA.com.
That's disappointing.
Now the Tigers and Lane Kiffin have come under scrutiny through the eyes of those in the industry, especially surrounding the quarterback market. If you remember back, you had Washington's Damon Williams that they had flirted with, who announced his intention to enter the transfer portal before sticking with the Huskies. You had Arizona State transfer Sam Levitt. He committed to LSU 3 days before the email came out from the CSC to LSU. The note also came 8 days after Yahoo reported that LSU was ready to pay Brendan Sorsby $3.5 million to go to LSU before he ended up going to Texas Tech. Now, in a statement, LSU says it's expected that the investigation will be wrapped up very soon. The university said it wouldn't have any other further comment until it's resolved. LSU says we have been in communication with the CSC since the organization's formation and appreciate the ongoing collaboration and guidance. We anticipate this specific inquiry will be resolved shortly. We will not comment further on this matter.
So, I mean, this has got to be what, baseball or women's basketball?
I would think.
It's certainly not men's basketball with the product they have on the court. Yeah, it's a shame it's not involving football because obviously, that goes into the, could you have a more perfect story, right? Or a more perfect, maybe first instance of this happening and being investigated like this. But, yeah, I guess we'll see. Do we think that anything substantial would come of it, even if they did find something? It'd just kind of be interesting to see how this whole process plays out. But I don't think I'm the only one that kind of looks at it and goes, okay, even if they do find something, like getting a slap on the wrist here, what are we talking about?
Yeah, and I guess no other details. We don't know if this is one of those deals that it was sent into NIL Go for a certain amount of money.
Yeah, maybe.
Or was a third-party compensation that they violated, whatever the case may be. There's not a lot known, but as I mentioned, because folks started going crazy on social media, they immediately thought, yep, Lane Kiffin.
Oh, yeah.
It's Lane Kiffin. He just got nailed.
It would make sense.
But NOLA.com, they're reporting that the inquiry does not involve football.
God, that's a shame.
Now, see, back in the old days,
that's a shame.
When the NCAA opened up an investigation, let's say in your women's volleyball program, if they showed up on campus, they would immediately find something wrong with your football or basketball program.
Well, see, and that was going to be my next question then was, so let's say it's baseball, for example. While they're there, while we're here, let's just do our due diligence with the football program real quick, and let's just make sure that everything's buttoned up for them.
That's what they used to do in the old days.
But I guess now they have no power, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, the old joke used to be back in the old days, especially when you would always have certain schools that would be so-called sacred cows.
Yes.
That would never get nailed by the NCAA. Mm-hmm. The joke was, they came down and investigated your football program, and then it ended up putting the women's volleyball team on probation.
Yeah. See, it'd just be funny. I like to imagine that when the people from the NCAA get down to Baton Rouge, that, they get on campus and Lane Kiffin's ready to greet them because he's just, you're not here for me. All right, come on. What you want to come over to the house? What can I do? Got some yoga. 6 a.m. tomorrow. You want to come hang out? I would think he'd be ecstatic right now. He's like, oh, I'm in the clear. Good for Lane.
Very much so. When we come back, we'll get to your phone calls. Calls are coming in. We'll also get to your text messages. You're listening to Three Man Front on this Reaction Monday on Jocks. It is 12:17. Welcome back in on this Reaction Monday. Conrad, Molly, I'm Pat with you until 2 o'clock. Landrum out until next Monday. So late last night, news got out that the government regulators have approved ESPN's billion-dollar blockbuster acquisition of the NFL media assets, and the two sides closed the agreement late on Saturday evening. As part of the agreement, the NFL will now take 10% ownership stake of the Disney-owned sports network, which is valued in the billions. ESPN will now own and operate the NFL network, become the official home of fantasy football by merging the NFL's product with its own, and have the linear rights to the Red Zone channel. So that is now all coming underneath the ESPN umbrella. The NFL and ESPN will do away with the Monday Night Football doubleheaders, so you won't get that anymore.
Okay.
You know, because we've had that
a lot of
last couple years. Mm-hmm. That's going away, shifting 4 of its overall games to the NFL Network.
Okay, so it'll still be, that channel will still exist as the NFL Network. It will just be owned by ESPN, so I guess.
There will be a lot of cross-pollination you will start seeing in April, because that's when it will officially take over.
And the draft and stuff get.
Yes. So what will happen is you will see a lot of ESPN NFL folks on the NFL Network, and I guess we'll see how many of the NFL Network gets purged. We've seen that over the last couple of years.
We have.
So ESPN will broadcast 28 games per season, the network's most ever, including the NFL Network's 7, because, you know, a lot of their overseas games
are on NFL Network.
Mm-hmm. So the NFL Network retained 3 games it already had. ESPN previously had 25 games. So ESPN will broadcast 28 games starting next year, and they'll also get the Super Bowl.
I will say and you probably remember this and know this a little better than I do, but I just go back to, man, this must have been probably not quite 10 years ago, right? When ESPN's first started to dip their toes in the NFL waters, and they would have, you know, like one wild card playoff game, right? And it was the worst one, right? It was always the crappy one.
Right.
And the narrative was, man, ESPN is so desperate for the NFL that they overpaid for the product that they did get from the NFL. And at the time, that was true, right? They were paying an absurd amount of money to broadcast essentially crappy NFL games. But now you look at where they've come since then, and now they're buying the NFL Network, and they're going to have the Super Bowl and all. Like, again, it's just one of those things where, you know, I think there's a lot of things you can be critical of, but going back in time and sitting there going, man, this doesn't seem like a smart investment. And it seems like you're playing a bit of the long game, and that it has now come to fruition for you if you're ESPN. So that's awesome. And I assume, you know, now that they have their, what is it called? ESPN Unlimited, whatever the streaming service is, that's $30 a month. I guess you will now get the NFL Network included in that, I would assume.
Yeah. I think all that will be part of the Hulu and the whole ESPN package.
So that will have a price increase is basically what we're getting at, I assume.
Pretty much.
But, okay. Hey, easier access to the NFL Network. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
They have a good product. Good Morning Football is a good show.
Mm-hmm. Very good show. So, all right, let's get back to your phone calls. Let's go to Larry, great listener and loves to chime in time to time. Hey, Larry.
Hey, guys. I always enjoy the show. I wanted to throw a question at all 3 of you, Molly, Conrad, and, of course, you, Pat. Just try to give me an explanation, because I have a word that I would like to exploit in reference to the University of Alabama's football team. But, guys, in one word, if you could put together in your thoughts what you think the problem is, if it's not DeBoer, if it's the players, if it's the NIL, whatever the case may be, what word would pop in your mind regarding the last 2 years with DeBoer and the team in Alabama? And I just wanted to see what y'all would say about that, so to speak.
For me, it's NIL.
One word.
NIL. If you could say that, that's one word.
I
mean that's.
Well, you know, that's. I don't disagree with you. I tell you.
I mean that's my opinion. I mean, not only Alabama, but it's just the new world that we live in.
Yeah, it's money.
Yeah. See, I was going to say money.
It's money.
To be more broad.
Well, my opinion, guys, I just think, and don't take this the wrong way, it's just an opinion, but with Saban all the years that he was there, those kids played with a different, I don't know the word is not passion, but I think it's the hunger down there. You don't see any hungry anymore. You don't see them hungry anymore at all. I mean, when they stepped off the plane and they played the best team in the nation, you just don't see that hunger in these athletes anymore. And I think that obviously has an absolute reflection with NIL, but I just don't get it. I mean, are you telling me that they just that much better than Alabama? And I don't know, guys. That's just my opinion. And I enjoy the show every day while I'm on the road.
Thank you, Larry.
Guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Larry. I mean, I think part of it too is, to go along with the money part of it, and what Larry's saying, he doesn't think the guys are hungry. You got a lot of guys. You got 11 guys on the field on defense. Let's say. I mean, how many of those guys are thinking about their paycheck and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do so that they're taken care of, as opposed to what the guy next to them is doing? I'm not saying they don't ever think about that, but I mean, you really do a lot of times have 11 mercenaries on a field together that you want them to play together and communicate, but at the end of the day, they're all trying to protect themselves and make sure they're taken care of.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, or whoever else.
Yeah, it's not just Alabama.
Say 5 years ago, it was always the promise of, you come here, you work really hard, and look at our track record. We will develop you, and you will be playing on Sunday, and you will make millions and millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now the players can make millions of dollars without accomplishing zero in college.
Yeah, and some guys would rather take that immediate payday and go, well, I'll take my chances on the NFL, but if I can get $4 million guaranteed right now, I mean, I'm gonna take that.
Paying Sam Levitt and Sorsby the kind of money that you're getting paid, or those kids that decide, you know what, I'm gonna stay in school. I mean, look at the money. I mean, no offense to Ty Simpson, but Ty Simpson was about to make $6 million to come back and play another year of college football, and once again, my opinion, not worth $6 million.
There's a lot of guys that will go to the NFL and maybe even have like what you would consider a pretty solid NFL career. They will never make more money in a single season than what they will make their last 2 years of college football. Like a guy like Sam Levitt, right? Maybe he goes and lights it up at LSU or Brendan Sorsby. Maybe they have a great year at Texas Tech, whatever. But let's say that's a guy that ends up being a third-round pick and ends up being a perennial backup or a practice squad guy around the NFL. He'll probably never make more than $6 million in a season.
Yeah.
But he did in college. It's crazy. And, you've got a lot of schools now, too. I think we also just have a lot of examples of, we talked about it last week. If you're good, people will find you. Even if you don't go to Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State, if you are good, the NFL will find you and you will have a spot. Now, you might have to work a little harder for it or prove some people wrong, but they are going to find you and identify you. You don't have to take less money to go to an Alabama anymore to get that springboard into the NFL, so to speak.
A little bit of news on the baseball broadcast front. We have talked about this over the last couple of weeks. If you're familiar with the FanDuel situation with the different regional networks, that has become problematic because the parent company of FanDuel Sports Network, keep in mind, FanDuel just basically rented their name out to the network. FanDuel does not have a financial stake in the operation of all these regional networks. Main Street Sports Group, that is the company that owns all these regional networks, and they have been losing their shirt to the point to where they've been looking for someone to purchase their main operations so that they can continue operating. Well, this morning, more Major League Baseball teams have decided to jump ship, and they're going back to the Major League Baseball broadcast umbrella, which means they will no longer be a part of the FanDuel Sports Network. Prime example is the St. Louis Cardinals this morning announced that they are leaving FanDuel Sports Midwest. That's gone.
Okay.
So right now, the Fox Sports Midwest they carry the St. Louis Blues. They carry St. Louis Billikens basketball and some other things around the Midwest, but they are going in-house to Major League Baseball. Other teams like the Reds, Tigers, Royals, Angels, Marlins, Brewers, Rays, and now the Cardinals are all leaving the FanDuel Sports Network to do their own thing with Major League Baseball. So Major League Baseball will take over the production. And as I'm reading the stuff in regards to the Cardinals, because I have all these different packages that have to do with the Cardinals, that it'll still be on my satellite service. I'll still have access online, things of that nature.
Okay,
that's not
good.
going away.
Yeah.
Now, the Atlanta Braves, they're a member of the FanDuel Sports Network. they are now expected to launch their own network. They say similar to what the Rangers are doing out in Dallas, which is a direct to distributor deal with cable and satellite companies and a local over-the-air partner. Now, here locally in Birmingham, if you remember, some of the Braves games aired on Fox 6 on one of their digital channels. I think it was like 6.2 or 6.3 that you could get them over the air for free. So in this story that I'm reading now, it appears that the Braves are shopping that idea. So here we are weeks away from spring training, and these Major League Baseball teams are now trying to find their way to a channel where you can watch them.
So would this be, I guess, their equivalent of like Yes Network?
Similar.
I could see Yes Network is there's more than just the Yankees on there though. Whereas this seems like it would be just a Braves thing.
Yeah, it just says the Braves are expected to launch their own network, perhaps similar to the Rangers sports network. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, the regional sports network, as you have seen over the last few years, it has hemorrhaged a lot of money and a lot of frustration for fans trying to pay different services to make sure that you have.
Oh, we hear from Landrum all the time. It feels like every year there's a new way to watch your team.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to.
Yeah.
That'd be exhausting.
Yep.
But I guess that's how a lot of people feel with, I can only watch this NFL game on Peacock, and this one's on Netflix for Christmas, and this one's on Amazon, and this one's on cable, and this one's on. Yeah.
So this is a big one because 9 teams this morning, I should say 8. Braves would be the 9th. 8 teams this morning said we're leaving FanDuel.
Okay.
So they're out. So they got to figure out now what they're going to do. More of your calls, your texts as well. This is 3-Man Front on Jocks. So Auburn basketball, they are off until Saturday when they host the Alabama Crimson Tide down at Neville Arena. Meanwhile, the Alabama Crimson Tide, they have been ranked all season long in both polls, the coaches poll and the Associated Press poll. And one of the polls just came out moments ago, right?
Yes, the AP poll for the week of February the 2nd was released just moments ago, and we will give you live reaction to the poll. So, unsurprisingly, Arizona stays at number one, unanimous number one. They've been number one for 8 weeks in a row now. Michigan, they move up a spot to number 2. UConn falls to number 3. Just running through this real quick. Duke 4, Illinois 5, Gonzaga 6, Iowa State 7, Houston 8. Molly's Nebraska Cornhuskers are 9.
Still top 10.
That's right. Michigan State at 10. Still haven't gotten to an SEC school yet. Kansas 11, Purdue 12, Texas Tech 13, North Carolina 14, and at 15, our first SEC team, Pat, the Florida Gators. Actually, no, it's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is still the highest ranked team in the SEC at number 15. BYU 16, then Florida at 17. Virginia comes in at 18. St. Louis at 19. Clemson at 20. Arkansas 21. St. John's 22. Miami, Ohio 23. Louisville 24. And at number 25, the Tennessee Volunteers. So with that, Alabama has fallen out of the top 25 of the AP poll for the first time since January 22nd of 2024. The first time in over 2 years that Alabama is not ranked. If you look at the others receiving votes, number 26 would be Texas A&M, and number 27 would be Alabama. And then down a little ways, number 33 would be the Auburn Tigers. So you will have Alabama and Texas A&M. Essentially what they're telling you is, I guess, whoever wins would probably be back in the top 25. Whoever loses will continue to be on the outside looking in. But Alabama, they fall out of the top 25 first time in over 2 years.
And we talk about this during the college football season, and this is just a reminder. It's fun to have this conversation. It's fun to talk about teams that's trending one way or another, like Alabama being out for the first time in 2 years. But at the end of the day, it's what's your KenPom and what's your net rankings.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here looking at the net rankings. You've got Florida at 12, Vanderbilt 13, Tennessee 21, Bama 22, Arkansas 23, Kentucky 28, Auburn 29. My point being, that's great. That's fantastic that people want to vote for that and talk about it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Well, and that's why, people would look
zero.
and, do some simple math. It's, well, I thought you said Alabama was projected as a 6 seed, which would mean you do the simple math, four spots for a bid, you'd be one of the top 24 teams in the country, but they're not ranked. Well, it's because, like you just said, Pat, in the net rankings, they're number 22.
Yeah.
So, again, it was rough yesterday. It was rough on Saturday if you're an Auburn fan, not quite as rough as it was for Alabama fans. But, again, you're still going to be fine. You just need to be one of the 64 best teams at the end of the year. And I think clearly Alabama and Auburn are 2 of those teams. Just got to get back on track, start playing the best version of basketball in the next month. And
so where was Nebraska
see what happens
on that top 25?
They are 9th.
They're 9th.
So they dropped from number 5 to number 9.
I
Okay.
think we just swapped with Illinois because I think they were 9.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And the reason I asked that is because Nebraska is currently 10th in the net rankings.
And also, just based on that game, if you're an Alabama fan, you're a big fan of Illinois because you have beaten Illinois, and that is now a top 5 win that you have on your resume.
It's funny because in the net rankings, they come in at number 6.
Illinois
does.
They're getting the old Burt bump.
Illinois, they've played 10 quad 1 games. They're 7-3.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I've gotten some.
Can't argue with that.
Getting some texts. People asking me if I've seen an early point spread for the Alabama Auburn game coming up Saturday, and I have not.
Okay.
Because that would just be an offshore projection, and I've not seen that yet.
I was about to say, I'm sure our buddy Brian Edwards on Wednesday will be able to give us a look at what that number would be. I did see this morning that Auburn is a 7.5 point favorite over Baylor in their 2026 season opener in Atlanta.
Interesting.
So it's just funny that, again, I know it works differently, but it's funny that we got a line for that this morning, and we're still
waiting for a basketball line.
That's
for
in
the,
5 days.
The IBOB.
But we have a football line for 7 months from now. Gotta love it. But yeah, a little bit of a shakeup there in the top 25.
All right,
basketball.
let's get back to your phone calls at 1-800-239-WJOX.
Yes, let's go to Old School. He's been waiting by, calling in from Biloxi. That is not it. There we go. How you doing, Old School?
Man, I'll tell you what. I felt like I've died and gone to heaven listening to you guys. It's like I've been dipped in holy water or something compared to Paul Finebaum show. This is cool, man. This is a chill atmosphere over here. How y'all doing?
We're doing fantastic, Old School. Hope you're well.
I'm doing very, very well. And I'm going to be meeting you guys. I'm coming up with my little protege that got banned from the Finebaum show. We're coming up there to see you guys to support our boys, AJ and Tyler, I think Friday. And also, I don't know if you're going to be there Saturday. I know we're going to be there Friday. But
yes.
You were talking about something earlier I'd like to comment on. And that's, you were talking about, I was listening to you guys talking about the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
About the prices and about the money and everything. Back in 1993, I was with the Houston Oilers, and when I say with the Houston Oilers, I was an extreme fan, and it happened sort of innocently, but I became very, very popular. And they Topps came out with a series of cards called the Extreme Fan Series, and what they said was the fans are a bigger part of football as the game itself, the sideline fans. You know, without the fans, you really don't have anything. But the problem that I have is the game that I don't even care about pro football anymore because of the greed, because of the NFL, the CTE stuff, the old players, Tony Dorsett's, the Jim McMahon's and stuff like that they haven't done anything to do anything about. But I said back then in 1993 on a magazine interview that fans make the game. Players don't make the game. Celebrities don't make the game. You guys don't even make the game. The fans make the game. Without the fans, there is no game. And in this world we live in right now, the fans like myself and different ones that used to go with their fathers and to the games, and if you're lucky enough maybe get season tickets, that's over with. There's no more of that. And this thing to where these coaches are getting paid, like Lane Kiffin, he goes over there for $110 million for a 10-year contract. Well, let's look at it this way. If he wins 3 years in a row, what's his salary going to be then? $200 million, $300 million? It's ridiculous, man. And what it's doing to these kids. These kids come out of Pee Wee, hoping to play in a ninth grade, hoping to play high school. How many really play? How many really get drafted out of? How many really go to a D1 college? Not many. How many people get drafted in the NFL? And now it's just like pouring gas on a fire, man. If I could just be a good player, I'm gonna get this bag at 18 years old. And it is completely sickening. It's completely out of control. People say, hey, man, we need a committee. You don't need no damn committee to fix this. You need a czar. You need somebody like Saban that will never do it. But a committee is going to get you nowhere. But it's just a shame, a complete shame, what has happened to the fans. The fans have been priced out, and that's where I have my problem.
Old School, you're not going to get an argument from me. I saw this about a decade ago in college football. It became extremely corporate. And especially when the Big Ten got in bed with Fox Television, when the SEC and the ACC got in bed with ESPN, it changed everything. And you're right. I mean, the Joe Q fan or the sidewalk alumni that used to do so much for these individual schools in the game itself, they've been shut out, and that's a problem.
And let me say one other thing. Jimmy Sexton, I'll go ahead and put his name out here. And I talked to Paul about this, and Paul said that, you know, he's not doing anything illegal. Well, guess what? Neither was Ma Bell whenever they said they wasn't doing nothing illegal. But you know what they had? They had a monopoly. Jimmy Sexton has got a monopoly on these universities, and I might not. It's going to happen. Something's going to happen. You're going to have a rule because listen, you can't do that, man. You can't represent a person that's leaving. You remember they saying DeBoer might go to Penn State. Well, the guy from Penn State was represented by him. DeBoer's represented by him. And then possibly Lane Kiffin's going to go to Alabama, and he's represented by him. How's that fair? I know it's like it's okay, it's legal, but it's like you little girls having a birthday party in the front yard. It's legal for someone to go out there and start raising cane in the streets, but does it make it right? Does it make it right? I mean, come on, man. Don't the fans realize with all these big salaries who's paying for this? You paying for this. That's exactly the reason you're priced out. It has just, and when it comes to Alabama, the caller said, what happened to Alabama? What happened to Alabama? What happened to Alabama? Well, let's take a look at Florida State. Whenever Hollywood Williams got off the bus, carrying a stuffed animal in another dog's yard, and he put the I in the we. Why is that a problem? Here's why it's a problem. Because he made it himself an individual and not a team player. That's the problem. It will never happen with Nick Saban, but it happened with DeBoer. So it's not all the NIL, the portal. It's a lot of that's the coaching, man. And for people to think that Alabama's going to get a lot better when they got one lineman they retained, they so far behind the portal and NIL, it ain't even funny, bro. It's not even funny. I mean, they got problems. Alabama's got problems. And I don't know if y'all agree with that or not, but I mean, to me, they just I like the board. Don't get me. I say I like.
They got a lot of holes to fill on that roster. I'm with you.
They got a lot of holes to fill, and they got a tough schedule, and everybody's getting better.
Yep.
So Alabama fans, all I can tell you, you better buckle up, man, because I don't see it getting any better next year. I truly, truly don't. And I thank you guys for the time. I look forward to seeing you guys. I want y'all to take a look at my little Prody. He's into journalism, and I'm going to tell you what, we bringing back respect and honor to journalism. He's going to come up there with a suit and tie, and I tell him that's the only way it's going to be. You're going to set yourself apart, son. You might be suspended for Paul's show, but that's okay. I've learned my best lessons whenever I got suspended. So
you
thank you so much.
Thank you, Old Rob. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Old School. We'll see you on Friday at Crafts there on 280 as we are out there broadcasting live from 10 until 2 with the Birmingham Stallions, AJ McCarron, and others. And hope you, many people like Old School, will be out there with us.
I know a lot of you over the weekend, you experienced some extremely high winds and also some damage to some trees around your property. That's why Golston Tree Service is ready to serve you at 205-337-4443. Golston's their licensed pros that will handle everything from trimming and pruning to full tree removals. It's very important, especially what you saw over the weekend, to make sure that everything is properly taken care of by a professional. And Golston Tree Service is ready to help you. 24-hour emergency tree service as well, 205-337-4443. That is the number to Golston Tree Service. We continue on your calls and your texts. This is Three Man Front on Jocks. Yeah, as I was watching the Alabama-Florida game yesterday, did you see who was sitting literally right next to Coach Golden? Because you know how they have the actual bench seats.
Yeah.
And then you have fan seats.
Yeah.
You know, it's typically what they do at NBA, big arenas. Yeah,
Where you have celebrities right next to the players or the coach on the floor. Yeah.
There was like when Golden actually sat down.
It was a person to his left.
Mm-hmm. Did you see who it was?
No, I didn't. Who was it?
John Sumrall.
Ah. There you go.
So why didn't Kalen DeBoer sit right next to Nate Oates?
It's a great question, Pat, because he's too busy recruiting running backs from Appalachian State.
See, I like how Summerall is supporting the Gators. I like how he's at the game.
I just like to think, yeah. So, Coach, when you got here and took over this basketball program, did you make them practice in like plain gym shorts and a t-shirt and earn the logo?
You know,
I didn't do that, Coach. That sounds like a stupid idea. Oh, well, that's what I'm doing with the football program.
See, I needed to look to see if he was wearing any Florida
anything like a quarter zip or something. I'm sure he was.
Since he won't let his players wear anything.
Well, that's true, because if they can't wear it, then he shouldn't be able to wear it either. Because he hasn't
feeling.
proved anything on the field with the Gators. But no, that's good. I'm glad to know that they're a unified front, unlike apparently Alabama and obviously Kentucky back in the day with Stoops and Cal, because they hated each other. So I'm glad to know that they get along, or at least they're trying to get along and foster that relationship.
Yeah, they do. One thing that you will see this weekend at the Super Bowl that you will notice, and it's beginning with the Super Bowl, and then this is pretty cool. All sports leagues are going to use this and do it. Have you seen the USA 250 patch? Have you seen that?
I have not. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like where this is going.
Yep. Most all North American professional sports leagues have agreed to wear patches that honor the 250th birthday of the United States.
That is awesome.
Sunday at the Super Bowl, both teams wore a blue jersey patch with USA in white and red trim over the numbers 250, stitched over a set of vertical red and white stripes. Additionally, the teams that reached the NBA Finals will wear the patch on their jerseys, while the method of participation for teams that reached the Stanley Cup is yet to be determined, and maybe that has to do with if Canadian teams are involved.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
All Major League Baseball teams will wear them for games on July 4th, as will players who participate in the All-Star Game and Home Run Derby. All minor league baseball teams playing on July 4th will wear the patches,
Okay.
as will wrestlers in WWE's WrestleMania.
Oh, that's going to get people fired
Yeah, that's
up.
cool.
Fighters in the special UFC event planned in June at the White House will wear the patch.
Love it.
And boxers in select Zuffa boxing matches will wear the patches.
Okay.
Major League Soccer teams will feature the patch during the opening weekend. NASCAR will also be participating.
That's cool.
So all of the sports leagues in North America
I love that.
will have the USA 250 patch.
Good, and as they should. I think that's a very cool gesture. I'm glad that they're doing that. It's funny that you bring that up, because as you were doing that, I literally just saw where Auburn announced that they're doing their own sort of celebration
Of America 250.
of America 250. So this is from the university. It says Auburn's launching America 250 at Auburn University, a year-long exploration of democracy, citizenship, and leadership in commemoration of the nation's 250th anniversary. And at the end of March, they are having Condoleezza Rice on campus to address the student body.
Very nice. So you will see that starting this weekend at the Super Bowl, and then it will be fanned out across the next 6 months or so.
Man, there's going to be so many great USA chants at sporting events this year. Those give me chills I get chills every time I hear that.
One more hour to go on this Reaction Monday. Hope you'll join us. 1-800-239-WJOX.